I now invite Mr. Vinay Ahuja to join Mr. Ashish for a fireside chat. Mr. Vinay is co-CEO at 361 Wealth and Asset Management with over 20 years of experience in wealth and asset management. He leads offerings for ultra-high net worth clients, including first families and family office solutions. Earlier, he held senior roles at Morgan Stanley India, Financial Services, and Deutsche Bank.
Audible. Very insightful keynote address. Thank you for that. Technology, trust, wealth creation. I'm going to ask you a few questions, maybe on behalf of the audience. I've taken questions from them. And so, like you rightly said, AI. I'm starting with technology again. Uh, how is NSE using AI to its advantage on surveillance, on market information, on other stuff? Maybe that's something you can enlighten us.
More than what we do at NSE, I'll give you the perspective today what's happening. So that, NSE is fine. I can go on and on. But, and I give you a hint on the land grab that happened during the internal combustion engine era. That's the oil grab that happened in Middle East. Whenever a new technology happens, all its equipments, all what is required for it, people try to grab. Some of the societies which can predict, which have powers, they try to grab so that others will end up paying them the rent. It's called rent seeking in economics. And so AI is going to be, as predicted and probably true, is going to be very horizontal transformational technology like what the electricity was. When electricity was invented, the inventor got nothing out of it, you know that. It is the other people who made money out of it. And similarly, but it spread out over the last 150 years in such a way that I'm talking to you only possible is because of electricity. And similarly, when you travel, it's electricity. And when you go home, your mixer grinder, nobody would have thought that electricity is going to be in all places which were day-to-day life, right? And AI is going to be similarly horizontal. And as I told you, the technology waves come faster, they spread faster, they democratize faster. And that's why electricity took so many years. Probably AI will take 5-10 years and it'll be that cycle will be over, right? So that's the theme. Some people started working on AI. When I was studying, it used to be called fuzzy logic. Okay, we also worked on it. And then slowly it became neural network and various other words. And now artificial intelligence is what I call brute force method of doing things. We did not have that computing power. Now the computing power has increased to do so many iterations, and that's where it's now becoming really useful. And that's where some people or some societies are saying, if you don't have $1 trillion to invest, don't come to this game. You have lost the game. You have lost the race. You are not in the race. That is the message coming from one particular economy, which is wanting to basically dominate. The other side, which is a challenger, is saying that it's not the game of very high amount of compute, great models. We will give it free of cost. We'll keep on issuing open weight, open source models, which is anyone can download and use it. So every time somebody from one side is coming out with a great model, Opus 4.5 or some chat GPT XYZ, the other side will come out with Kimi K 2.5 and some Minimax 3.5 and stuff like that. Matching the capabilities. One is open source, open weight, you can download, put it in. Other side is saying, no, you have to give me $1 trillion to come to this table. That game is going to go, and it has been made, all of us have been made in India to feel that we are not in the race. We are just the bystanders and we'll have to keep on paying rent to them for the rest of our lives. But if you look back, in IT also, we did not invent Unix. We did not invent computer chips. We did not invent relational databases. But we became the best users of that, and using that, we actually helped the world. So for me, AI is not very different. We don't have to invent. That was the hypothesis of my story altogether, saying whoever does the best adoption and continues to evolve is that society which is going to win this game. And so that is the hypothesis I work with. That's what I spoke yesterday at the AI conference in Delhi, that we have the ecosystem to adapt in whichever two societies are coming out with new models, new hype. There are only 1,000 people making these noises, both sides. Society is not even interested. They are used to eating the ready-made food. This is the only place where when you have an AI conference, you have 250,000 people turning up. And if you had a better arrangements, you might have actually 1.5 million people turning up. Here, the technology is what people are excited about. Yesterday, I could see families coming with children into Bharat Mandapam. Last year, when it was that same conference was done in other country, 5,000 people. 5,000 people are actually the people standing outside moving around in Bharat Mandapam, right? So that's where this society is all about. It's technology-oriented society. It's going to be the best user of AI. And that's what we need to provide to our youngsters. And that's what each company, how do we create our own use cases? We don't have to be against anyone. But the next race is being also started. That is the usage of this AI into physical world. That is robots and 3D printers and normal factories and normal lifts and normal watches and in our eyeglasses. How do we connect that, this particular intelligence that is coming, that analytics framework that is coming, those experiences that are coming, how do we sort of incorporate that into day-to-day life and service ourselves and service other people better, right? So that's what, for me, it's a great opportunity for India to grab and run with it. Yesterday, 3 new inference models have been actually unveiled by India, created by Indians. But for me, that's the beginning. As I say, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can actually use somebody's created wheel and start running with it. Having said that, in NSE, we use it in literally all parts of life, from reading documents to making codes for our own usage. But one place we don't use currently, the current AI models, is basically in matching engines. Because they have a tendency to hallucinate, which is giving you wrong answers. And if you want to buy stock at 995 rupees, and I tell you that you bought at 996 rupees, you will not like it. Right? So I don't want to give you answers which are incorrect. And that's where we use it in what we call peripheral systems. Today, on a good day, NEC gets 2,000 crore orders in 6 hours and 15 minutes. We give response time in around 100 microseconds. Next month, we'll start giving response time in nanoseconds. 1 second has a 10 lakh microseconds and 100 crore nanoseconds. So NSE is going to give you response time in 100th crores of a second, right? Many of you might think, "Arey boss, itna zyada kyun kar rahe ho?" I mean, how does it matter to humans, right? I mean, 1 millionth of a second or 1 billionth of a second, how does it matter? But computers are now thinking using AI or even otherwise and placing orders, and they actually decipher in nanoseconds now. And that's why NSE has been the pioneer of technology in stock markets, but also in India in terms of the overall technology. NSE is where the India's technology story started in 1993-94. But today, on that 2,000 crore orders, we do around 30 crore trades on a good day. And the 2,000 crore orders are 50% of all orders in all stock exchanges in the world. We are larger than New York Stock Exchange by probably 20 times in terms of number of orders and number of trades, not the value. Why I'm giving you this statistics is we use technology at the cutting edge. There is no similar sort of technological organization in the country. We are basically an IT company in the guise of a stock exchange, right? And it is required by the user. It's not that it's frivolous. And that's where it has to run continuously, and that's where we will continue to explore, experiment, and use any technology that improves experiences for our 12.7 customers today, 12.7 crore customers today, but probably tomorrow it could be 50, 60 crore customers in next 3-4 years.
Thank you, Ashish. Insightful to know that infrastructure in NSE is equal to or better to most other global stock exchanges. Speaking of global stock exchanges, most global stock exchanges have not more than 33% of their revenues coming from the core business. For NSE, it's not this way. Any idea if you're making changes to this? Any views on this?
Broadly, stock exchanges in the world have become businesses. In India, they have remained regulators also. We have a small portion of our life which is business, but large portion of our life is about being regulators. And as a part of the way India has evolved into using technology, giving information real time to every single share, sort of every person who is interested in stock market is free of cost. Today, any company that reports their quarterly results to us or any material information, we have to, by regulation, we have to put it on our website first. And then it goes to the information vendors. Other exchanges, they don't give it to public. If you want to take that data, you have to subscribe through Reuters or Bloomberg and pay $2,500 per month. Otherwise, you will get it after 30 minutes, 40 minutes. My investor gets earlier than the Reuters and Bloomberg users by regulations, right? And so, naturally, I will never be able to make money, but it's like I'm saying, I'm adding $2,500 per person per month. That is, if I have 12.7 crore investors, multiply that GDP I'm adding into India's economy, although it's not counted because otherwise it will be too large. But when I'm telling you this is, we have regulations which make us give data free of cost almost always. All our brokers get it free. They give it to their customers free of the entire order books and all. Nowhere in the world it happens. And that's the difference between us and them. Not many people, not many analysts understand these nuances of how India works or Indian stock markets are regulated vis-a-vis other markets. And it's like, many times I have to explain, I say it's like marriage is the same word, right? Marriage is marriage, right? But you know, American marriage and Indian marriages are slightly different, right? The obligations and sort of expectations of both parties are quite different. I mean, there are 90% similarities, 10% are different, and those 10% matter, right? So that's where the difference in India's stock markets and outside stock markets.
Thank you. BSE, which was earlier a brokers club, is now getting to be a formidable competitor. We are seeing it eating into small market share, which was a monopolistic business, is now getting into being a less monopolistic business, I might say, not a duopolistic business. Any views on this?
Broadly, both exchanges or any more that come up, two more exchanges have already licenses called MSCI and NCDEX to trade in equities. In fact, MCX is another exchange which can also trade equities if they want. So there are 5 exchanges. And in some ways, they are regulators first, competitors later. Right? 99% of our work is about coordinating with each other. All the manipulations that happen, all the reporting that happen, all the broker inspections are done jointly and things like that. So it's a Coke versus Pepsi that is being made out. But both sell the same dark liquid, right? Sugary. We also have the same companies, literally almost all the same companies. And we are having obligations or regulatory requirements that we have to act as regulators. And that's what takes most of our time. And this small little competition, you can think actually is not that relevant.
What's next for NSE? We saw a sneak peek in the results saying international segment. Are you looking at commodities, fixed income? What's the next growth path that we could, as investors, look at NSE doing?
In a way, we have an international exchange in Gift City, Gandhinagar, called NSE International Exchange. Uh, they do around $5 billion of business every day. It's again one of the larger exchanges in the world. Not many exchanges do $5 billion a day. And they are now going to list equities of the companies. Already few companies have listed, like from Cyprus, one company is just listed. And they've done bond listing of almost $60 billion. They trade derivatives. And many more companies are lining up to list on that exchange. So that exchange is basically in a special economic zone in Gandhinagar Gift City, where the tax jurisdiction is different. And for 20 out of 25 years, as per the current budgets, there are no taxes if you have anyone investing through that ecosystem in Gift City. I have International Finance Service Center. And so that is becoming a very large entity on its own. But within India, and that's our competition to Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, New York, London. Many people tell me, why don't you take over exchanges or start new exchanges in Europe or US? That exchange in Gift City runs 22 hours a day. Before Japan wakes up, that exchange starts. And after California sleeps, that exchange sleeps. So effectively, we work pretty much almost 24-hour days. And we would be able to compete with any exchange in the world using that platform going forward. And companies from third countries, where investors are from fourth countries, are coming, like Bangladeshi bond, the Sri Lankan bonds have been listed a month back, where the investors were from other countries. They are not Indians, they are not even NRIs, right? So we are becoming a formidable platform even on international platform. But in India, my thinking is that we automated an sort of a framework which was already standardized, which was stock markets. Before NSE came also, there were 22 exchanges. They were standardized. Of course, we improved by setting up depositories, clearing houses, settlement guarantee funds, derivatives, Nifty and all. But broadly, we did one work. Then now we are into commodities. We have natural gas, oil, gold, silver, many other commodities. Now we are becoming very large there also. We also are now becoming large in electricity. Electricity market is very large in India. And that market now, NSE is a formidable force from last year, where the government allowed us to start trading in electricity futures. And now on the backward linkages side, we have been told to now set up a coal spot exchange. So we are working on setting up a coal market, which is again a very large market, almost 4-5 lakh crore rupees worth market for Indian coal produced in India, used by Indians. And so how do we, idea is the skills and abilities gathered by NSE in organizing this marketplace, their risk management, their regulations, ensuring that they are fair, efficient, transparent, orderly, work in public interest, creating that public trust. You can actually solve many markets related issues, so that better markets. Sometimes, like last week I gave a speech and I said that there was a 20th century, the second half was fought between communism and capitalism. In 1989, when the Berlin Wall fell, you thought communism lost. But who won? It's the marketism that won, not capitalism. Today, China is a communist country, but it is market country. Everything happens in markets. Vietnam is a communist country. The market is paramount there. US is a capitalist country. Market is paramount there. India is in between. We don't know whether we are communist or capitalist, but market wins, right? So the marketism won, and we need to create better, more transparent, more trustworthy markets. NSE has been the fulcrum on which India created that trust, that created that skill. We need to create and solve those markets, make them more organized, and the technology allows you to go into non-standard markets, which you call long-tail markets. We started with the fat tail markets on the normal come, and now the middle part, which is the fat part, and then we are going towards the fat tail part on both sides. So that long tail part of the both sides. So that's what we are trying to work on.
Thank you, Ashish. I think I have many more questions, but time's up and this has been going there. Luckily, your flight is delayed by 15 minutes, so you have time to breathe and go. Thank you very much for being here and enlightening us.
Thank you. Hope this was useful.